My microphone is a Sith droid. So I saw Star Wars. I'm not going to talk. Welcome to the channel. Over here you'll find lots of artwork. Artwork and drawings. Talks about art and tutorials if you want to learn anything about art. Art. It's you guys. You guys make it happen. We hit 15,000! That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Thank you. Hey. Let's talk about faces. Faces, drawing of the faces. La cara. Widget. So basically what I'm doing in this video is I'm taking what I did, the drawing, and top of it. Well, painting on top of it, but I didn't set, I made a new layer on top of everything. Didn't set it to multiply, because I'm using just black. And if you're using black on a new layer, it's already as dark as it can get, so it wouldn't even make a difference if I set it to multiply. I'm talking about that too much, it's really not important. So, and I'm just pressing lightly when I'm doing that gray. It's because you see I have black selected, but I'm just kind of pressing lightly. You see me flattening stuff a lot. Now from that, because I don't like to, I usually don't like to have like 1,000 layers. I like to flatten things out as if you're working on a real piece of paper, right? Or a real canvas. Now the reason I do that is because, I don't know, I feel like it's a good practice, because if you're able to think ahead, a couple steps ahead when you're drawing, it's beneficial because it's efficient, and the more you do that, the more in practice you are of thinking ahead. And so when you go to do stuff, it's you spend less time trying to organize layers. I think it's whatever. But I mean, if the project calls for like 1,000,000 layers, then you gotta do, and just, you know. So last video about this stuff, I recommended to get a mirror and have it in front of you and draw yourself doing a bunch of faces, you know, smiling and then looking angry. Because if you do that, it's really beneficial. I talk with my hands a lot. Because when you're looking at something in real life, you can reference it later on when you're drawing on your own or out of your imagination or what have you. And the benefit of that is like you have a real life reference. You're not trying to make it up, because the more you try and make everything up but you haven't studied it before, you'll just get frustrated. I know, I've been there. Just study real life first. I keep getting the question. The question keeps coming up. What question am I talking about? Oh, you know. The brushes question. Hey Ahmed, what are your brushes? What brushes do you use? What kind of opacity are you using? Hey, could I please have your brushes? The brushes are in the description. They've been there. I even made a video about the brushes. Just, I mean, I'm not upset about it. I'm not frustrated. I don't mind you asking that every single day. Like, I get the question not only on YouTube, when I have it in the description, but on Instagram, on DeviantArt. It's pretty much the default brushes. You don't need to have anything special. I know I talked about one of you in the other video about brushes. There are painterly brushes and getting your things to look more painterly. I understand, you know, you can do that, but the ones that I'm using, that's just the round brush. You know, it's just flattened a little bit. You can change that yourself. You don't have to download my brushes, although you can. Especially those of you that did and gave me $1 or $2. Thank you. That's awesome. I love that. You know, keep doing that. I swear, I need somebody to like comment on every video saying brushes are in the description, and then somehow make that comment at the top so that when they go down and they're watching my video and they're like, okay, well, I gotta get his brushes, so I'm gonna ask about it, but I'm not gonna read the description. Hey man, what brush? Oh, it looks like somebody said that. Oh, the brushes are in the description. Cool. I should probably be nicer about this, because, you know, I don't want to be mean and scare people away. I love all of you, except when you keep asking about the brushes. Moving on, back to the drawing. So let's talk about style. What is style? Style. Well, I don't think I have a style, right? But people are always like, man, I love your style, man. So can you explain how you do? I don't know how to explain it. And I don't even think it's a style. I think it's a result of... Style is a result of your influences. It's a result of your process. It's not an intentional like, well, I'm going to make it, with these angles and stick with this, brush. No. It's like you study. Like for me, I know I mentioned J.C. Leyendecker, John Singer Sargent, Luke Hollis, J. Scott Campbell, Ian McKeag, Joe Mad. The list goes on. I've looked at their art and I studied them a lot. I sit there and draw it. When I was younger, I have sketchbooks full of that stuff that I'll probably never show. And what ends up happening is I'm drawing, and because I've drawn those things naturally, my hands are used to that. Much like your signature, right? You know how to sign your own name, right? But at first, it wasn't the best version. You practiced it and you made it better, and now you can do this cool swoopy stuff. But by now, you've done it so much that it's embedded in your automatic motor controls, if you will, right? So, like I said, style is a result of process as well as a result of your influences that you've looked at. So how do you control what your style is? Have good taste, right? Look at good stuff. Have a collection of art that you think is good, or the style that you like. And I won't judge you too much if it's only anime. But I will. So if you... Just kidding. No, I'm not. So have and the thing is, if I chose to go more realistic or less stylized, I can, but because I've studied each of those things individually, I can jump between the stuff, right? And that's up to you as an individual. Like nobody came and held my hand and said, oh, look at this style, study that. Oh, look at this style, study that one too. It's more like, hey, that's cool. I'm gonna learn that. And I just draw it, right? I'm not intending to embed it. Right? I'm just like, oh, that's cool. But then I get bored of it. Then I move to another one. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Then I learn that one, but I get bored of it. And I've learned, and I'll do that process with all these different things that I like. And then I go to do my own stuff, and it's like a collection. It's like a Frankenstein of all these different styles, and you can tweak and increase one or the other and whatever. I still don't think I have a style. I don't know what they're talking about. At least not a distinct style. I don't think I could put up my work and people are gonna be like, oh yeah, well that's an Ahmed Aldoori. That's an Ahmed Aldoori. That's an Ahmed Aldoori. Okay, we're gonna talk about this right now. How do you say my name? This is a fun one, isn't it? Here in America, or most English-speaking countries, if you have the letter H after a vowel, the general rule is that H is silent. My name has an H after a vowel, the letter A. So you say, oh, well, yeah, it's Ahmed. Ahmed, like the word aha, right? Just without so Ahmed. But in Arabic, at least for my name, H isn't silent. You pronounce it. It's Ahmed. All right? Ahmed. Like in the intros of my previous videos, or my earlier ones. I might bring them back. I don't know. And so I'll be like, all right, hey, nice to meet you. Because in my Christmas video, there's that confusion of I'm Ed. By the way, I get that all the time, ever since I was little. Because if I say Ahmed, they're like, huh? I'm like, oh, it's Ahmed, right? And they'll be like, oh, Ed, yeah, you're Ed, or I'm Ed. Oh, okay, Ed. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, okay, it's Ed. But no, lately I've been saying I'm Ahmed, right? And like, oh yeah, I could totally say that, Ahmed. And I'm like, no, actually, it's not Ahmed. Where are you hearing the I don't, what? And I'm like, no, it's Ahmed. It's like, it's a soft H. Well, it's actually a H that happens here, not here. Ahmed, right? It's Ahmed. So if you think Ahmed sounds exactly the same as Ahmed, there's something wrong with your ears. Okay, so please, if you're watching this and you have a friend or somebody you know and their name is Ahmed, try to learn how to. It would be so heartwarming if you went up to them and you said, "Oh, hey, what's up, Ahmed?" Now, don't be like, "Oh, hey, what's up, Ahmed?" There's no in the, it's not real. Some racist made that up. Like, what? Ahmed and Ahmed are not the same. The H is like a whisper. It's like, ah. And the tricky part is when you're saying the H part, you're not using your vocal cords. You're actually cutting that part off. So it's like, Ahmed. It's not Ahmed. You know, it's the struggle is real. It's so real. I've had nightmares of introducing myself to people. Hey, my name's Ahmed. And then they just look at me like I'm an alien. I'm American. Just because in Arabic we have two H's. There's a soft H, like ha ha ha, and a hard H, ha, right? Most people can't tell the difference, but we can. So there's Ahmed, which is closer but still wrong. Ahmed, and then Ahmed. Is this getting through to anyone? I don't want to waste my time. I'd rather talk about art because you guys are here for art, right? And you've probably heard the name Muhammad, like the boxer or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, Muhammad, it's almost there, but it's actually Muhammad. It's also a heavy, hard H, because my name is actually from that name. It means he who is thankful, or he who is gracious with gratitude, something like that. So Ahmed, Muhammad, ha. It's not Muhammad, it's not Ahmed. What's going on in this painting? Let's go back. Variations on faces. There are 3 shapes that you need to know. If you know these shapes, you can design almost anything. Square / rectangle, anything with right angles. Triangle, and a circle. Of course, the variations that those things have. But those main 3 things, square, triangle, and circle. Now, this is talking in 2D, right? You're looking at a 2D thing. When you're designing shapes, those are the 3 shapes you can work with. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. When you're doing faces, you can have certain faces emphasize more of a square or a rectangle and elongate it, make it shorter, wider, right? And then you'll have a more rugged kind of squared look, right? And you also have a triangle, right? And you see in the girl in the middle, it's a kind of a combination of a circle for the top part of her head and a triangle, for a feminine small chin, that kind of thing. But that dude with the greased out, slick back hair, it's more square, right? The jaw has right angle, and of course they're not perfect squares. It's up to your own liking to do whatever you want. But yeah. And so understanding that, circular stuff implies soft, cuteness, not threatening, but triangles, if you make a character with all triangles everywhere, it's kind of threatening. Because as we were developing as humans over millions of years, things with pointy edges and like spiders and like things with angles and spiky things, our reptilian brain says, run away from that. That thing will hurt us. All right. Whereas things that are soft, what are round and round things that are round, like oranges, that's comfort. Eyeballs, those are round, that's comfort. It feels good, cute, nice. The tricky thing is when you mix them. You could have an outer silhouette of triangular spiky stuff, but all the shapes on the inside are circular. Then you're starting to get some next level stuff because you're telling 2 stories there, and it's tricky. You have a lot of fun with that. But that's a complex character design situation that I'm going to save for a series that I'm doing. That's right, I'm doing a series. I'm doing a video game character design series, right? Might sell it somewhere on my website or Gumroad, but stay tuned because it's going to be freaking awesome. But yeah, so these are things to think about. I got my guitars hung up. Pretty happy about that. Did that today, actually. I've been putting off recording stuff because I'm like, I'm not going to record video footage until those guitars are up. It just sets, it completes the composition, I think, right? Yeah. So, okay, let's read some comments. I don't think so in my Star Wars video, got a couple comments about being creepy about liking Daisy. First of all, I'm a dude. Of course I'm gonna like a girl that's part of my DNA. But I don't think some people understand my sense of humor. I think over time you'll get it. Jojo, I see what you did there. She's like, so Ed, have you maybe thought about doing a video about your art progress through the years? That would be interesting. So interesting to see. Maybe. Yeah, eventually I'll do that kind of stuff. My favorite comment was left by my friend who... Okay, Steven. He says, amazing video, watch the whole preview thumbnail. So Steven, who's actually in the beginning of this video, he's one of the people watching the trailer reaction. He goes, amazing video, watch the whole preview thumbnail, because he doesn't watch my videos. If it's not too much to ask, what are your brushes and all the tablets you use? And can I rear project my portfolio onto your shower curtain while you're in there and get some feedback? This guy knows how to make jokes because he's funny. This man is a smart man because he avoids looking at other people's art. And I think it's genius, and I want to do that too. But I'm not strong enough to avoid art stuff right now. So I like to go on there and check stuff out. Because, like, there's something about influence. If you're doing your own thing and you start seeing what other people are doing, you start to think, like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing that. Well, then this, you know. So it's kind of... I understand. I remember he messaged me. He's like, don't be upset if I unfollow you on Instagram. Of course, I got upset. Like, how dare you? But no, he's, you know, smart. Obsidiacs talking about when I mentioned stuff about portfolios and like how sometimes I'll get portfolios about, you know, asking if they're good enough for the industry, and I was saying that sometimes I'll get stuff that's just a couple anime characters, and he says in terms of anime and game art though, I think there's a place for anime portfolios in gaming. Perhaps the artist wants to work on JRPGs, fighting games, or visual novels. With an anime direction. Of course, they're aiming to work on games like... If they're aiming to work on games like BioShock, then I see your point. Yeah, okay, so... Yeah, if you want to do anime stuff, yeah, totally. But what I was talking about is the type of portfolios that have like a drawing of an existing anime character, and it's not well done. It's just like, hey, please give me approval. Like, you know, tell me I'm good. I'm not going to do that. Saraka asks, Ahmed, I noticed that no matter how you zoom, your image never seems to look pixelated. Is this just a matter of size? Or using a nicer version of Photoshop? No. It's a matter of size. I often work at 4,000 pixels at least. I've gone up to like 8,000, 10,000, and that's a huge file. I think Craig Mullins mentioned that I went to his workshop in Denver a couple months ago, and he was talking about how he's just been experimenting with much bigger files that are 25,000 pixels, 30,000 pixels wide or tall, you know, huge. And I like that because when I zoom in, I don't want to see pixelated stuff. I want it to feel like high res, even if I'm zoomed in. Cobalto 60 says, well, Aldoori is my new ship, and it will be canon. Listen to my words, Lil Ahmed. Excuse me? Lil Ahmed? May the force be with you. P.S. Awesome as ever. Would you like to be my senpai for all of time until we fight for the master title? You can forget the part about killing. I'm not even going to respond to that. Total Geek Team says, Ahmed, you are the best guy on YouTube. Thanks for everything. No, thank you. George the Manly, he says, get better soon. Are you studying at Art Center College of Design? If yes, which course? I'm not studying there. My friend, I graduated from there. And I was there for entertainment design. I mean, I'm scrolling through. There's a lot of great comments. I'm just picking ones that I can answer right now. Because some of them I'm like, I could answer that, but it would take an entire video explaining things. The color picker. A long time ago, there was a weasel. This weasel, when digital art started being a thing, he went around everywhere. And he told everybody, don't use the color picker. It's not good for learning. And we all looked at the weasel and were like, oh, you're right, weasel. And the weasel was like, yes, I know. Don't ever use the color picker. And so, but after the years, I thought to myself, this weasel, where'd he come from? Where'd he get this idea? What is he talking about? So in the learning phase, when you're kind of learning how to do art and stuff, and when you're trying to learn color especially, people will say, don't use the color picker. To which I'm like, well, fine. You know, you can limit yourself. But if you do what I did, I used the hell out of the color picker. I would open it up, and when I'm doing studies from things, I would see where the colors are on the X and the Y axis when the thing comes up, and I get an idea of where everything is, and it started to embed in my process of like, okay, well, this color was more saturated this way, this way. And what I realized from doing that is when I did color pick, the result was gray. But I kept doing it. But this time when I'd color pick, I'd take that color and push it a bit. Be like, oh, I want it to be better. If it's like a painting of something blue, if you color pick, it'll be sort of blue, but it won't feel the same. For some reason, it doesn't really translate in terms of saturation and brilliance. So what I like to do is color pick and then enhance it. There's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, there are no rules. Make up your own way of doing it. Challenge the norm. And this is also related to people saying, don't use black in your painting. Don't use pure white. Just don't do it. Shut up. No. Do whatever you want. You don't establish these rules that you don't even get. Why? Okay, so let's look at the origin of that. Why do people say don't use black? The root of that is like when you're shading something, when you have a blue sphere, right? Okay, a blue sphere. The wrong thing to do would be to shade it using the darker version of itself, aka adding black to it, right? Because we think, okay, black equals dark, so make it darker by putting black. But really, you should shade it by changing the color and the value. So don't just make it darker, but change the color itself. So maybe add a bit of green or add a bit of magenta, something different to introduce a variance, right? So from that, people are like, okay, well now, okay, you should not use black. Now I'm never going to use black. No, that's not what they said. It's not what we mean. And sure, I think I mentioned earlier, by setting certain limitations, you're able to come up with creative solutions, right? And if you say, okay, don't use black, you might come up with solutions. Yeah, that's good. But don't tell people that's a solid rule set in stone. Luis Martinez, él dice algo. He says, hey, I've noticed that while painting and drawing, you tend to mirror your reference picture and drawing. Why is that? So when you flip your image, it's like looking at it anew. It's fresh. You see a reverse version of it, and you can spot mistakes and flaws. And Anna Dragomir answered that for me, but I'm just going to say it again. The old masters would do this, right? And you might be like, well, the old masters didn't have Photoshop, so what are you talking about? They had mirrors, my friend. Mirrors. They would hold up a mirror, even like a small piece of glass that they could have at all times, so that they could see their own paintings reflected. Anyway, that's all the time I have. Stay tuned for more. There's a button, right? Look, my little logo pops up here. It's the bird. It's a sparrow. It's cool, isn't it? About that. Let's get to the point here, because we're at the end of the video, and since you're here, this is the part of the video where I'm like, hey guys, what's up? You should just subscribe, right? But I'm not gonna do that, even though I just did do that. And I'm still trying to get over this cold here. It's kind of a nightmare being sick, because when you're sick, you can't do much. Should I look at the camera? Is that? But look, listen. If you like that video, because if you subscribe, you'll be in the loop, right? And if you're in the loop, you get to see when I make a new video, right? And I will catch you all later.